Hey, what's up, Bolt Gang? You've probably heard by now, but the schedule for the 2026 NFL season has officially dropped. And let me just tell you, the marketing team for the Chargers has killed it again. Their schedule release video was Halo themed, and it is awesome. I really encourage you to go take a look at that video if you haven't already. I'll put the link in the description below so that you can find it easier, but definitely take a look. It's worth the watch. Now, with this video, I wanted to go through each matchup and kind of determine how I think we'll fare against each opponent, what I think our record will be at the end of the season, and then other noteworthy facts about these matchups that I find most intriguing. So we are starting the season off with an NFC season opener. It is the first time that we have done so since 2021 and the first time since 2015 that we have actually hosted an NFC team for the season opener. Now, it is the Arizona Cardinals, who were notorious last season for going on a 9-game losing streak, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. I don't think that they made enough moves in the offseason or during the NFL draft to be more of a contender. I think that the Chargers have only gotten better since the offseason, so I just think there's too much of a divide. And the fact that the Chargers actually hold an 11-5 record all time against the Cardinals, I think it all just bodes in our favor for a week 1 win. And then heading into week 2, we have another home game. We have back-to-back home games for the second year in a row. Last year, obviously, we played in Brazil for our season opener, so it didn't technically count as a home game, but this season we will be at SoFi in back-to-back weeks. Our second game of the season will be against the Las Vegas Raiders, and contrary to the Arizona Cardinals, I think that the Raiders have actually gotten better as a team from last year. However, I don't think that they will be coordinated enough with the amount of players that they have brought in to be a contender at this point. Maybe later on in the season after they've found their groove, but at this moment, in this early on in the season, after having a bad season last year, I don't think that we'll have too much of an issue winning this game. And we actually have enjoyed some success when playing the Raiders at home. We're 17 of 23, and all of those games, when looking at how much we beat the Raiders by, all but 5 of those games we won by 20 points or more. So again, just another fact that leans in our favor and makes me believe that we'll be able to take the dub in week 2. Starting in week 3, things get a little more interesting. We have 4 straight games against playoff teams from last year, in that of the Bills, the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. Starting with the Bills, we're heading to Buffalo on the road, so we're going to be heading up into the Northeast. I think that with travel, it always affects a team in some way, shape, or form, but I think that we handled a lot of our traveling last year very well, being that I believe we were the most traveled team last season, if not one of the top 5 teams, but I think that we'll be able to handle the travel. It's about handling Josh Allen that matters most. As you all know, Josh Allen is in the MVP conversation pretty much every season. He's won one over Lamar Jackson, and he was in the running last season as well, even though Matthew Stafford ended up securing that accolade. If we are able to lock down Josh Allen, he doesn't have very many weapons at the receiving position. He has James Cook behind the line, which is always terrifying for a defense because James Cook is a very versatile running back. But without those receivers to be much of a threat, I don't see our secondary having too much issue with making sure that the ball stays in front of them. So it's a matter of whether or not Josh Allen and James Cook can make something with their legs. If we're able to contain that, this is a dub. This is a 3-0 start. But if we allow Josh Allen and James Cook to get going, I just don't see our offense being able to keep up with that, especially because we've seen what happens when that happens in the past. So as of right now, I'm going to put this down as a win just because I do think without those receivers, they are a little bit behind the ball and we are a more well-rounded team. But we'll see how they play in the first 2 weeks, and that could change my opinion on this matchup. And then week 4, we go on the road again to Seattle to play the defending Super Bowl champs. I think that this will be our first loss. I think that the fact that we have to play in Seattle with the 12th man going crazy, playing Super Bowl champions, playing JSN, the fact that they don't have Kenneth Walker is a plus for us. But I think that as an overall team, they have the skill level still to beat us in this matchup. Though, like many of you, I hope that that's not the case. I hope that we start the season off 4-0, but I'm going to be a little bit of a pessimist here and put us at 3-1 to start. And then in week 5, we come home to SoFi and we play the Denver Broncos. This is a matchup that I think will test our ability early on to see if we do have what it takes to be a postseason contender. I think that Bo Nix, once he's healthy off that broken ankle, I think that he's going to hit the ground running again. He's a great quarterback, as much as I hate to say it, being that he is an AFC West rival. But I think that he is a great quarterback. He has the receivers around him. He just got Jalen Waddle from the Dolphins. They have J.K. Dobbins, who we have seen play for the Chargers. We know he's a good player. He played pretty well for them last season before getting hurt. I think that they are a very great team. Their defense is always superb. So it's going to be a tough matchup, but I do think that we win this matchup. I'm going to put us at 4-1 to start the season, and then we'll take a look at week 6. Week 6 is against none other than the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a rivalry I look forward to every single season. The fact that we get to play them twice a season, I love it. Think that the environment is great. This game in particular, I plan on attending with my brother. We have made it a goal of ours to go to every single stadium and watch a Chargers game, and this is the one that we have chosen this year, being that it is in driving distance from where we live. The tickets are a little expensive, but I think it's going to be worth the cost. I mean, especially if we get the win. If we go all the way there and we get the loss, it's going to hurt a little bit more than it would watching it on my couch. But being in Arrowhead before they move to the new stadium, I want that environment. I want to feel that noise and just get that much more excited for my team being out there on the field. Now, for this matchup, I think that the fact that Mahomes is coming off an injury, Travis Kelce is aging, the fact that their wide receiver group is still kind of wishy-washy, in my opinion, I think that we still hold an advantage over them, being that our defense is still pretty elite. Chris O'Leary will have his hands full for this matchup, especially because he's now got Kenneth Walker to worry about. But I think our offense is going to hit the ground running early on in the season, and I think that we will win this game by double digits. So I'm going to put us at 5-1 at this point, heading into our bye week, which is in week 7. Now, typically I like to have a week 12 bye. I think all of us know why. It just lets us kind of take a breather before we hit the ground running in the later end of the season and heading into postseason. But after having 4 straight games against playoff teams from last year, I think a week 7 bye is perfect. I think it'll let us lick our wounds and then get back to it heading into week 8. And then in week 8, we actually play the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are a team that I am a little bit afraid of, being that their offense is so elite behind quarterback Matthew Stafford, behind receiver Puka Nacua, behind running back Kyron Williams. I think they have a lot of skill in those skill positions, and their offense is phenomenal. Their defense can sometimes let up on big plays, so that could bode well in our favor. However, I'm going to go ahead and be pessimistic with this one as well, and I'm going to put us at 5-2 with a loss in week 8 to the Los Angeles Rams. Even though we are technically playing at home, even though it's an away game, being that we both play in SoFi Stadium. So I guess that's kind of a win for us, right? Now, week 9 and 10 are similar to that of week 3 through 6, being that we go against back-to-back playoff contenders from last year, in that of the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. But in week 9, we play the Houston Texans at home. This is going to be a matchup that I'm excited for, being that we lost to them in the playoffs, so I want to get mine back in blood. I think that this is going to be an easy dub for us as long as we're able to produce as an offense. Their defense is still stellar. I'm still kind of worried about their edge rushers, but with the likes of Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater coming back, I think they'll be able to take that pressure off of Justin Herbert and allow him to make those throws that he was unable to make in the past against this formidable defense. I also think that their offense behind Stroud is not capable enough of playing against the Chargers defense. I think that when they played us last, they had 2 great plays, 2 bombs down the field that we let up in coverage. Without that, there really wasn't much that impressed me. So I think that as long as we're able to keep it rolling as an offense and not stall, this is going to be a dub. So I think that we will get this win, and I think that we'll have a 6-2 record heading into week 10 to play the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens always worry me because they could either be really good or really bad, and a lot of that hinges on Lamar Jackson at quarterback. I think that if Lamar Jackson's healthy, and that if Lamar Jackson is playing like Lamar Jackson can play, I think that they are very hard to beat, being that he can dump it off to Derrick Henry behind him. He can scramble with his legs and make plays like no other quarterback can. He doesn't have very good receivers, but he's still able to find them and create plays out of nothing. So their offense is good when it's rolling. When it's not, then it's something that we can take advantage of, as our offense should be pretty good as well this season. But their defense is what worries me, because every season it seems like their defense is in the talks of the top 5 defenses of the league. So if our offense is not able to produce the way that I'm hoping it will this season, I'm going to be a little bit pessimistic here as well. I'm going to say that we're going to be heading home with a 6-3 record. So at this point, the only games I think we lose thus far is going to be against the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Ravens. Now in week 11, we play the Jets. I'm not going to talk too much on this one. The Jets are notorious for being a terrible organization. I still don't think that they have made enough moves to be a contender. I'm going to move on from this one and say we got the dub, 7-3 record heading into week 12. Now, speaking of week 12, we get another playoff matchup. This is against the New England Patriots, and being that they just beat us in a very slow, very boring game, in my opinion, I'm hoping that we'll get to showcase our true talent on Sunday Night Football in SoFi and prove to all the haters from the last few seasons that we do have what it takes to win against playoff teams from last year. So heading into week 13, I'll put us at 8-3. I think that we do get the dub against the Patriots. I think that we will be one of the talked about teams in the league, and we'll hope to keep that ball rolling. Now in week 13, we play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that has lost some of its offensive weaponry in that of Mike Evans, but Baker Mayfield is a competitor. I think that he is going to play like his back is against the wall. Hell, it really could be at this point in their season, but it is going to be a difficult game. I don't believe that their defense is good enough to stop our offense, but I do think that their offense is pretty good, and with Mbuka coming off a great rookie season, I'm interested to see how he takes that next step and if he will make it difficult on our defense during that game. But at this time, I'm going to give us another dub, put us at 9-3 heading into week 14, where we go to Las Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the second time that we will face them this season, and again, I think that the Raiders have a lot to prove this season. If they're unable to prove it up until this point throughout the beginning of the season, I don't think that we'll have issue beating them in week 14. However, that is left to be decided based on their play style, based on their coaching changes, based on the players they brought in, the chemistry that they will share as a team. At this time, from what I saw last year and without the ability to see how they will play as a team this year, I'm going to say that we win this one as well, heading into week 15 with a 10-3 record. And in week 15, we play the San Francisco 49ers. This is a team that was plagued by injuries, much like the Chargers last season. I think that they are a lot better than they were last season, just based on the fact that they were still winning games, even though they were heavily depleted at most positions. I think that they come back healthy. I think that they will be a formidable team throughout the season. It is a Thursday night game, and we will be playing in SoFi, but they don't have to travel too far to play us. So I think that this is another one of those games that I'll be a little pessimistic on. I'll give them the win just because I don't think that we're going to win every game this season. I'd love if that were the case, but for this week, I'm going to give them the win. So we're going to be looking at a 10-4 record heading into week 16 against the Miami Dolphins. Again, this is another one like the New York Jets, though we do have to travel to Miami. We did so last season and we handled business. I think that we will do so again. They have basically cleaned house. They did have a change at quarterback, so that could change their outlook on the season, but just from this point, I don't think they have what it takes, and I think this is another easy win for the Chargers. So heading into week 17, I think that we will have an 11-4 record, which brings us to our final two games of the season. The first against the Kansas City Chiefs and the second against the Denver Broncos. The first will be played at home against the Chiefs. This is a game that, again, it's all depending on how Mahomes comes back from his injury. I think that just based on the fact that there is that what if factor, I'm going to go ahead and give them the win for this one. I hate to do that, but I think that Mahomes is Mahomes. As much as I don't like him as a player, I respect the skill level that he has. The fact that he has won 3 Super Bowls, he's a proven player, and he can change the outcome of a game himself regardless of those around him. So I think that moving into week 18, we have an 11-5 record. In week 18, we do play the Denver Broncos in Denver. That's always more difficult for a team heading into Denver to play in the Mile High Stadium, being that the altitude is so much different than that of the stadiums elsewhere in the country. But I think that this is going to be a back and forth contest. I think that it's going to be an offensive contest. The defenses are good on both sides of the ball, but I think the offenses are going to be even better. I think that the lead is going to change hands multiple times throughout this game. However, I think that Herbert will put his team on his back in the last few minutes of that matchup. He will take us to the victory to end the season. We will finish the season 12-5, and we will head into the postseason, hopefully with a division title. But if you like this video, go ahead and drop me a like, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you think about these matchups. matchups. If you think that I'm accurate in my assumption of a 12-5 record this season, if you think that I'm wrong in any of these assumptions, I'd love to hear how you differ in your take on these matchups. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content, and I hope to catch you on the next one.